the economy of covenant, sharing, generosity, and no one lacking. The Jerusalem assembly walked through a city filled with trade, markets, wealth, poverty, taxes, debts, and men striving to gain advantage. Yet inside their households, a different rhythm beat. A different way of life took root, an economy shaped not by profit or calculation, but by covenant, by the generosity of Yahweh, by the memory of Yeshua giving himself, and by the breath of the Ruach knitting hearts together. They did not live by the scales of merchants, but by the weight of mercy. They counted not coins, but brothers and sisters. They measured not surplus, but need, and because of this, no one lacked. When a brother faced hunger, food appeared at his door. When a widow's jar ran low, hands brought oil and grain. When a household struggled under the weight of hardship, other households stepped forward with gifts. The assembly did not store up wealth, they stored up trust. They opened their hands as freely as Yahweh opened his. They remembered the manna in the wilderness, bread falling not for the strong alone, but for all Israel. They remembered the gleaning laws, fields left open for the poor. They remembered the prophets, calling the people to justice and care. These ancient commands lived again through the generosity of the way. Some sold possessions, others sold land. They laid the money at the feet of the apostles, not as tribute, not as tax, but as an offering of love. The apostles did not grasp these gifts. They distributed them with steady hands guided by the Ruach, ensuring each household had enough. They acted as shepherds, tending the flock, feeding the hungry, clothing the bare, and lifting those bowed low by hardship. These acts were not rare or exceptional. They were the daily life of a people whose hearts had been changed. The sharing was not forced. No weight of command pressed upon them. The fire of the Ruach stirred them from within. They gave because they had been given much. They opened because heaven had opened to them. They remembered Yeshua's words, that it is more blessed to give than to receive, and they found the blessing by living it. Their generosity became a fragrance rising like incense through the streets of Jerusalem. Drawing hearts and silencing accusations, merchants saw their customers selling property to care for widows. Neighbors saw households feeding those with nothing to offer in return. Priests saw common people practicing mercy with greater purity than many who stood within temple courts. Romans watched with suspicion at first, then with wonder. The way was not spreading through argument. It was spreading through love made visible. At the heart of this economy stood the household table. Bread broken there fed the poor as well as the wealthy. Clothing was exchanged without price. Work was shared. Burdens were carried. If a man's roof needed repair, brothers climbed ladders and set beams in place. If a sister's field needed harvesting, hands moved quickly through barley stalks until the work was done. If a widow's lamp ran dim, oil was poured without counting drops. Their lives were interwoven, each household a strand strengthening the others. Disputes concerning giving were settled by elders who judged with righteous scales, not of bronze or stone, but of scripture and wisdom. They reminded the assembly that generosity must be pure, not seeking praise. They corrected those who gave with a double heart or who lied in secret to appear generous, for deceit threatened the unity of the house just as rot threatens a beam. The sobering judgment that fell on a lying couple early in the assembly's life reminded everyone that Yahweh dwells among his people, and that dishonoring the covenant brings weight upon the whole house. The poor among them did not feel shame, for the assembly treated them as family, not beggars. They sat at the same tables, prayed the same prayers, shared the same bread, received the same blessings. Their needs were not burdens, but opportunities for the assembly to reveal Yahweh's kindness. The wealthy did not feel pride, for they understood that what they possessed was given by Yahweh to lift others. Their hands became channels through which mercy flowed. Strangers who entered these gatherings were often overcome. They had seen charity before, coins tossed into open palms, but they had never seen households pour out everything as if wealth meant nothing compared to covenant love. They had never seen men sell valuable fields and rejoice as if gaining treasure. They had never seen widows fed with joy and orphans clothed like sons. Some joined the way because their hearts were pierced not by sermons but by generosity. This economy did not weaken the assembly, it strengthened it. When persecution struck like a sudden storm, the people endured together because their lives were already woven tightly. When famine threatened the land, the assembly did not crumble, for their sharing had prepared them. When brothers were imprisoned, their families did not starve, for the community surrounded them. Mercy became their shield, love their supply, unity their storehouse. Thus the covenant path shaped their economics as surely as it shaped their worship and teaching. They lived as stewards, not owners, servants, not masters, brothers, not competitors. Every open hand bore witness that Yeshua was king, that his people walked a different road, and that the wealth of heaven had come to earth through the generosity of his household. And through their giving, the light of Zion shone in the streets of Jerusalem.